Hi, welcome back to the Jac and Glen channel. I'm Jackie.
And I'm her husband, Glenn.
He's my husband, Glenn.
Hey, before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of our reviews.
All right.
Married at First Sight, season 13, episode number 11. Oh my goodness, what a what an episode! What an episode that this is. This episode was a big mess. A big mess was this episode. So, hey, let's get started right there. Episode 11. Let's talk about it.
All right.
Who do you want to start with?
Believe it or not, Jose and Rachel was pretty low key, and so were Zach and Michaela. So, where do you want to start? Which one of them? Zach and Michaela?
Let's start with Zach and Michaela.
All right.
Let's go.
All right. So we see them going out on an activity date. They actually are at a soccer field, but they're doing the blow up bubble thing.
Yeah.
Be bumping each other.
Yeah, they're doing the blow up bubble thing. I mean, this is something that Zach and Michaela wanted to do. It's something that was therapeutic for them. It was something that was loving for them. It was something that Zach and Michaela needed to do in order to make their relationship better.
And yeah, we see them being very playful. She says she's looked up some strategies and techniques on how to win, and she's gonna put those into place. But first time out the gate, Zach knocks her down.
Yeah, he knocks it down.
Slam down.
Slam down to the ground. And I think that was the type of way that he started to get aggression out. That he wanted to get some... He did. I mean, I think he really wanted to get some aggression out. The way that he was handling things, or the situation, the way he was portraying himself, and the way that he was handling things, he wanted to get some aggression out. Because, think about it, he was having fun with it, but it was therapeutic for them as well.
He said that he was excited about doing something active. And they even placed a little wager on it. It said whoever won would have to, well, whoever didn't win would have to do a little dancey dance. They'd have to do what he said, a serious dance in their bubble.
and that was the funny part, because Michaela didn't know, I don't know if she doesn't know how to dance or whatever it was, but she ended up doing the Dougie.
Right. Which, if you know anything about the Dougie, it is all hands and arms.
All hands and arms.
But you can't move.
You cannot.
Hands
She
and
had
arms
no opportunity. She couldn't
in the
move.
bubble. He was like, "Are you doing it? Are you moving?" I thought that was funny. Yeah. He said, "Well, okay, I saw your Dougie in the bubble, but I want to see it in real life." And basically, she was like, "No." She was like, "No," because we know she's not a dancer.
She's definitely not a dancer. She's not a dancer at all.
But she did do the Dougie in the bubble. And so they have a little talk or whatever. And she asked him, when is it that he felt the happiest in their marriage? And he said, I don't know. Why don't you answer first, sucker?
Sucker. He wanted to see what she had to say. I mean, his point. He wanted to see what she had to say, and I guess that was the thing that made it key, because he wanted her to answer. And I've always said this: don't never let anybody answer first. You never let them answer first. You always answer the question. Because whatever he said, that she was gonna come in next and say it, or whatever she said, he was gonna come in next and say it. And I think that was the key there.
Yeah, but they actually did have two different answers. She said it was when he first came home, well, to their apartment after they'd been separated, and you missed the missed the honeymoon when he came back after he had COVID. And he said it was when they were at the reception, and it was something that we didn't see. It was he was dancing with her, or for her, and all of his groomsmen, his friends, his brothers, they came and surrounded him, and they just really had a good time dancing or whatever. And I'm like, well, dag, Zach has not been happy since then.
It's been happy since then. I mean, he wasn't happy since the wedding day. So that means he wasn't happy when they had sex. He wasn't happy while he was flying on the airline, on the airplane. He wasn't happy, none of those things. So I think the problem is what makes Zach? The question is, what makes Zach happy?
Right.
Is it his friends or is it Michaela?
Mm-hmm. Like we said again, Zach was really pleased by this because he said in getting married, he wanted someone he could do stuff with, and he got that. In this case, this was a time where they're not having any arguments, having a good time with each other, and he said that's what he got. Later on, we see them in the apartment. They're trying to do something else. So not a physical activity, but just something together. And they have their vows that they looked at and they decided to hang them on the wall. And I don't know if they hung it up crooked on purpose, but it was definitely crooked on the wall.
They hung it up crooked. I thought about that too, and I looked at it several times. Like, did they do that to be as a joke? Like,
right.
This is where our relationship is at. It's like, it's on here, but we're not straight. So we're not going to make a relationship straight. So I wonder if that was something that they wanted to do to play on words or play and how they felt.
I wonder. But I think it was probably more so they just couldn't get it right up on the wall.
They probably couldn't get it right on. I mean, it's not that hard. It's a picture frame.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it's not like you hang on a TV. It's a picture frame.
Mm-hmm.
Put the nail in the wall, in the drywall, or on a stud, and then hang the picture up there. It was still. I think they were trying to be funny.
You got to put it right.
You got to be right. I think they were trying to be funny. But again, Michaela and Zach, they were real playful because I hold my breath every time they talk to each other.
Yeah. Now
I hold my breath every time they talk to each other because you never know what you're gonna get with Michaela and Zach. You may get them two fighting each other. You may get them two arguing with each other. You never know what you're gonna get. So I kind of hold my breath.
But they did good. Like I said, for us to start with them as being uneventful, I mean that says something.
Yeah,
these past few episodes.
There was no blow ups, but again, they was working on them and they had time. They did the little scrapbook thing.
Yes. Yeah, they did. They had all kind of pictures of them. Some pictures that he was like, "Oh, I didn't know you took that."
Yeah, I was surprised though because they took pictures of each other and all we saw was them having arguments and fighting and so they had scrapbook stuff. Mm-hmm. Which 2021, I didn't even know people still print pictures out like that.
Yeah, why not?
I'm just saying, all my stuff is digital.
I would listen. The way Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp went down the other day, I don't trust these clouds. You better get your pictures. I got a bunch of pictures. I really would print them out.
Gotcha.
You know that I just went through pictures.
Yeah.
And they wanted to write something to go in the poem, and in the scrapbook, so she wrote an acrostic of his name, not Zach, but Zachary. And so she had something for each letter of his name. And for him, he was like, "Oh, you went like sweet and serious. I went kind of the funny route." And so he wrote this poem. At first it was like, if she was in a mood, she probably might have got mad, but they was in a good mood. Yeah. So she chuckled it up, some of the things he said in the poem. But I thought it was cute. They got along really well, and he said he liked her poem better. She said she liked his better. And they just were on a good note. I was very happy for them. The other thing that we want to touch on when it comes to Michaela and Zach is we do see Michaela meet with her sister Sharifa.
Yes. And
they had a nice conversation. She talked to them. She talked to Sharifa about the challenges. Basically, she's like, "I ain't talked to you. You've been MIA. What's been going on?" Not in a bad way. She was just like, "I know you've been busy being married and living, so I haven't talked to you." And she said, we've had some challenges. We did have some arguments, kind of have some fallout or whatever. And she said at first when we met it was sunshine and butterflies, but when it hit a downturn, and she said the way she would react before, she's learning not to do the things that she did before. Yeah. So we get to hear, which we've heard this from her before, that I'm trying to do different than I have before.
And this was the thing I like about Michaela, because every time somebody brings up the situation or brings up the circumstance, she always says the same thing, that I'm trying to do different. That means she's conscious of the fact that she messed up. She's conscious of the fact that she has a temper. She's conscious of the fact that she has an explosion. And she wants to do something different. And so when you're conscious of that, you're trying to do something different, and you can see when she speaks to Zach or when she interacts with Zach, even probably when he makes her mad, she's trying to keep it nice and cool and collective, and and sometimes when you can do that, but again, when you know that you're able to do it, you don't have to keep reminding yourself.
Right.
It becomes natural, and I mean she's working to the point where it becomes natural, but she's not. I don't think she's there yet because you can see her facial expressions at times when he says things or through things.
Now listen.
Her facial, she can't control her facial expression.
No, and some of us don't know, even at whatever age we are, we haven't taught our face to use its inside voice. It is what it is. So sometimes that's not gonna change. You get better. I have that problem. I have a friend of mine that says to me all the time, Jackie, watch your eyes. I'm looking at your eyes because I'll be like, some of y'all said that too. Some of y'all made comments about that. But yeah, so she's getting better.
She's getting better. I like the progress. I'm not knocking it. I like the progress. She's making progress, and we can deal with that.
Yeah, she told Sharifa, I've learned to speak my feelings and not just act them out. And later Sharifa says, this is something good that this is a Michaela that I'm not used to. She's used to bottling up her feelings and then acting out in emotion, and she's sure some of that has trailed into the marriage. She hasn't been an eyewitness, anything that may have happened. Of course, Sharifa would get a secondhand knowledge if Michaela told her, or if for some reason Zach talked to them. You know what I'm saying? Right. So she hasn't been a eyewitness in actually seeing it, but she's saying, I'm sure it has trailed in, and we know it has. But what she said was, but now I think she's grown and she's matured. She's more mature. Just in these few weeks, she said, I see a change. I see something different in my sister. And she said she's more vulnerable and she's more expressive. And she said, I didn't think Michaela was capable of being expressive. We were like, oh, wow.
Yeah, that's big there because she thought Michaela, all they know and what their family has accepted was Michaela blowing up. And when Michaela blew up, Michaela got what she wanted. So now grown Michaela feels like when I blow up, I'm going to get what I want. So throughout her childhood, she was blown up. She was taken care of. Mommy and daddy took care of her. And now she's learning that I need to communicate and talk about my feelings and the issues that I have. And I just really can't blow up, because if I blow up, I may lose the thing that I love. I may lose the thing that I really care about, the thing that I want to be with, in this case, which is Zach.
And she even talked about on the flip side with him, she said, I feel like he's more comfortable talking now to the way she needs to. So he's being a little more firm with her. She said he's more direct, and at first he was gentle and elusive, she said at first. So he was a little more mild-mannered, and he's realizing that with Michaela, she's a little high-strung, so you might have to be a little more firm, not aggressive, but no, what's wrong with you? Get together,
Yeah.
type of thing. And she appreciates that. I think probably even though I'm thinking her family probably coddled her and enabled some of her misbehavior before, I feel like her father was probably the one that could be like, hey, get it together, baby girl. And so that's what she's looking for in Zach. And he's starting to give her that.
He's starting to give it to her. He's starting to give it to her.
Yep.
No, I mean, nothing major happened with him. It was just kind of easy. This was as I want to call it, the calm before the storm. With Michaela and Zach, everything was nice and peaceful. Zach did have conversation with Ryan later on, but we'll get to that in a little bit later. But I mean, this episode with Michaela and Zach was pretty low key.
All right, and so who was saying that?
Let's go Mirla and Gil.
Mirla and Gil.
Mirla and Gil. Because I like Mirla. Mirla is growing on me, and I think this couple right here. I think this couple right here, right now, we had to pick a couple. They're like one of the most stable couples out of the 5. They're turned into everybody's favorite, because at the beginning people didn't like them, or they didn't like her. I think everybody liked Gil, but people didn't like her, and I think now people are beginning to feel her and see her compassion and see her see who she is and how she's maneuvering.
So we open with Mirla and Gil in the kitchen, and he's talking about the fact that his lease is up in the next 3 weeks. And so, you know, what should I do about my lease being up? And so he says, you know, he was like, I think, you know, I've been looking into some apartments because he didn't want to renew his lease just in case, you know, what transpires with decision day.
Right.
But, and he said, you know, I think that just as a, not a precaution, what's the word I want to say? Just in preparation, let's start apartment shopping before decision day.
Right.
And so he's already started looking at stuff, and she was like impressed in her vignette. She was like, you know, he's like my dream come true. You know, he's starting to know me. He's starting to get me, and I feel comfortable with him, and I feel like, you know, I could be with him. Because
because when he gave it to you, when the way he presented it to her was like, I've looked at apartments, and here I have two options. Here's the option A with a larger floor plan, with less money, and then the one with the smaller floor plan was more money. And you know, and he, you know, basically what he told her was, I could care less. I could care less if I had a doorman. I could care less if we had
yeah, he said he's not a fan. Matter of fact, not even like I could care less. He was like, I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of mid-rise, high-rise apartments, concierge, bitch garages, loop-de-loops. Like, that ain't me. He was like, I mean, he sleeps at the firehouse.
Right, he sleeps at the firehouse. And that's another thing. He sleeps at the firehouse, what, 3 nights out of the week or 2 nights out of the week? So 2 nights out of the week, so he could care less.
Right. But he was like, you know, what is this you like? And she was like, you know, I like new apartments. And they went from the new apartments, which was funny. He was like, oh, you like everything new. You were just talking about wanting a new phone. She was like, I do want a new phone. He said, what's wrong with the phone you got?
It still make phone calls, don't it?
She said.
It still make texts, right? It still take pictures, correct?
Right.
I mean, he basically ran down the whole gamut of what her phone does.
She was like, basically, I can upgrade. I have the availability. My phone is 2 years old. I want something else.
That sounds like somebody else I know.
I
ain't say no names though.
And he said the thing about it is that it worries him because she wants everything new. And what will she do when the newness of me wears off?
And there lies the biggest issue right there. There lies the where the root or the cause of where he feels at, because he thinks, because she like things new, what if I wear off? If she's gonna get rid of me? Will she get rid of me? You know, is it a possibility that she may get rid of me if something new come around? You know what I'm saying? Because she talked about the phone having a new camera or whatever case may be. What if the new person has a new look, or don't like dogs, or I mean, I understand his dilemma, but I don't think he has to worry about that. I think she's right now at hook, line, and sinker into Gil. Unless something major happens or there's a major blow up, I think she's really into Gil right now, and I think this relationship is gonna get better.
We see Mirla talking to her friend Alicia, and I thought it was cute. First thing they talk about is lashes. Girl, did you get her lashes done? We know the lashes is a big thing.
Her lashes are a big thing.
So they had a conversation about lashes, which leads Alicia to ask, oh, by the way, since I know your husband's frugal, what's it been like living with a frugal man? And Mirla was like, you know what? It's been okay. It hasn't been so bad because he's frugal in the right areas. And she said in the other areas he doesn't care. It's like, you know, okay. I mean, it doesn't matter to me either way.
Which Gil wants to save money. If you watched Unfiltered, you see Gil with some Gucci shoes, a nice little belt. I mean, I'm sure if he's frugal, he might not pay full price for it. But he likes nice things. Right. He just does it in moderation. So he take care of his priorities first, and then everything else. And I think that's the difference where people. That's what she means by him doing it in the right things, by making sure that the priorities are taken care of, making sure they have savings, and then allowing her to do whatever she wants to do. Not allowing, but she, not making a fuss out what she wants to do.
Because the funny thing is, Alicia says, well, being with him and knowing that he's frugal, has it made you want to change it all? Mirla says, nope, never. I ain't changing.
No, she stuck to it. I'm not mad. She stuck in her ways, and she's like, you know what? I'm not changing. I'm not leaving. it is what it is. You want cereal, you get cereal in a cereal box. You know what I'm saying? You get what you see. And guess what? He likes what he sees right now. Mm-hmm. And they're working it out. It's being good for them.
Mm-hmm. She even shared with her friend the conversation they had about looking for apartments. Yep. And, you know, Alicia was like, you got the frugal man looking at apartments. Like, are you okay with that? She was like, no, I trust him to find something for me because he knows what I like. He's gotten to know. And obviously, Gil's been doing his homework. We know anyway. Gil is observant.
Yes.
And he said it before. I'm noticing it's gonna have to be like this. I'm gonna have to do this for my wife because I know she's picky.
Oh,
particular.
She's picky.
And so
no, don't try to clean it up and say particular. She's picky.
Same thing.
Oh, I know, but you know, particular is one of those bigger words that people like to use. It's picky. Get hood with it. It's picky. She's picky. It's okay. It's picky, and he understands that, and he knows how to deal with that, and he knows that if I pick something out, it has to be something she likes. She wants to, where they can barbecue at and go to the pool. I mean, all this type of stuff. Mm-hmm. She likes amenities. Yeah,
and so she talked about that. All these amenities in the apartment complexes that Gil looked at, and even Alicia says, "Well, we know you love to spend money." Mm-hmm. And so the one thing Alicia said though is, let him be who he is. If he's frugal, it's like y'all kind of balance each other out. Alicia was like, don't try to change him on that.
Right.
Don't try to push him into your way of doing things. But I like what you said. We've learned that Gil is, he likes things. He, the Gucci belt or, whatever. But he just doesn't spend it like her.
Right.
And so that's where they can get along when it comes to that. And I don't think they're both the type of person who's like, I'm not going to change from this. Not in a bad way necessarily. Now, it can be, when you get real stubborn about it. Which I feel like she's stubborn. It's not too excessive. Because what we find too is we find out that she's gotten used to having Hype. Yeah. She started walking him, and remember, she was like, I don't like dogs, not doing no dog.
You better get a dog walker. Don't have a dog walker. Walk your dog now. You better get a dog walker now. But now her and Hype become best friends. Mm-hmm. She even feeding Hype.
Yep. Now she's still, and I agree with her. The slobbering is like, I don't like that.
But she liked Hype enough to ask for a dog.
Yeah, she did. But they showed a clip of her taking Hype out for a walk and feeding him and everything, and she's sitting at the table eating, and Hype is there. Which again, let's go back to this. Even though Gil doesn't work a whole week, he's gone for two days, 24 hours.
Yeah.
So she's there with Hype. Might as well get used to him, and she's been taking good care of Hype.
Have a conversation with Hype.
And so what she said was, which a lot of with two of the other couples really have to take this mindset, is what she decided is there are differences that we have. There's some things that he might do that I don't like, but I decided not to focus on the negative.
Yeah.
I can't focus on the negative because that'll take me down a hole that I might not be able to come out of. And so I've decided to focus on the positive and not get stuck. Because not that you don't see the negative, but you can't get stuck there.
No, you can't get stuck there. When you get stuck in the negative, that means every little thing that your spouse or your mate does is going to irritate you. Mm-hmm. Every little thing. They didn't tie this shoe right. They didn't put the chair in at the table.
Oh my gosh, he's breathing.
He's breathing. Right? He's breathing. He's breathing too hard. I'm trying to watch TV. Don't talk to me. The TV's on. Whatever case may be. When you start getting in the negative, everything's begin to become irritating. We start to see that later on with Johnny and Bao when we get there. Everything she does starts to irritate him. Mm-hmm. And so when you deal with the negative, that's the problem. Where you'll see so many people dwell on a negative, that the person just breathing and being in the same room with them is a turnoff, and it makes them upset.
Mm-hmm. And so Alicia's like, well, have you had any arguments? What do you think it would be like when you have an argument? And Mirla's like, I mean, if we have a disagreement, we'll just communicate about it. We know Gil's a talker.
Yeah.
Mirla's a talker. He's getting her to talk more. You know, well, I don't think we had that, but she's an introvert, but not in a relationship. It's just like she don't like to fool with other people too much. But she said, I've already noticed that, you know, his different mood. So when he's tired, he gets more quiet because we know Gil's a talker. He's excitable. He's enthusiastic. But she's like, when he's tired, I notice he's more quiet.
She's learning, and that's the key. Yeah,
and he's social, and I'm not. You know, so I see that difference so he's picking up on things, and she is too. And when she talks about being social, she was like for example, his friend he hasn't seen in a while got a new house, and he was like, hey, I want to go see my friend, you know, go check out his new house or whatever. And she's on something, well, do we have to go to his house? Can't we meet him at the bar? And he's like, why would I meet him at the bar when the whole thing is he got a new house?
I always thought that was funny because what's funny about that is you'd rather go to a bar which is nasty and dirty, sit on the stools, more people, and not go to this person's house where it's a controlled environment.
Mm-hmm. But it's more intimate. It's more close. And so, like she said, she's an introvert. She said, basically, she's like, I don't really like people. I don't like to be around people. And so that's her thing. So in a bar setting, you're around people, but it's less intimate.
Yeah.
You know, you got distractions there. You got other people.
I think at this point in the conversation, I understand the points of the conversation at the bar where eyes are not on you. Mm-hmm. When you're in somebody else's home or visiting somebody else, all eyes are on them. It becomes an intimate setting. I understand that.
Yeah.
But then you did a TV show, reality TV show, where you married at first sight and all eyes are on you.
Yeah, it's not the all eyes being on you. It's not that so much. It's like having to interact when you don't necessarily feel like it.
When you don't feel like it. She never likes to interact.
Yeah, but Alicia was like, come on, you gotta be social. Alicia encouraged her to, I know you're an introvert, you don't like to be social, but I need you to come out of it a little bit.
Just a little bit.
She was like, because you don't want them to think you're a B. And Mill was like, I don't care. She was like, yeah, they're gonna think you're a B.
They're gonna think you're a B. Y'all know what the B is. Figure it out.
you know what a B is.
Yeah.
And so then we see Gil meets with his friend Christian, and we find out basically he hasn't seen Christian since the wedding.
Since the wedding.
Because he's been gone for 4 weeks, and Gil shares, I didn't renew my lease, and Christian was like, oh, okay. So, any concerns? Do you have any concerns? Like, you didn't renew your lease. You got to stay somewhere. Like, what's up? And Gil was like, my only thing is, she loves the bougie life. We already talked about this. He said, I call her the princesa.
Yeah.
She's a princess. She's a girly girl, and just trying to navigate through that. And he said the other thing is sometimes her attitude, not getting her way with her pouting and her tantrums. He was like, that's the thing I have concern about. And then that she said, I'm not changing my lifestyle for anybody. He was like, the fact that she's not flexible, when it comes to that, it comes off a little selfish, and he didn't really care for that too much.
He didn't care for that, but he still likes her.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he didn't care for it, but I think he feels, not that he can change her, but he can maneuver and manage what's going on because of the relationship and their connection. He would feel like, and I think even with the Hype situation, it's like, okay, she said she didn't like dogs, but over time I can break her down. Over time, with love and with compassion and with me showing kindness and gentleness, is going to take place. And I think that's where he's at.
And the last thing they did talk about the Hype thing, and he shared with Christian that she's doing better with Hype and he wants a dog. But Christian's thing, which he mentioned at the reception too, was he was like, bruh, I just need to know, have you consummated the marriage? Is it going down?
No.
And he was like, no. But Gil's in a good place. He said, but she's giving me all kind of affection, bruh.
Yeah.
I like this.
I like the intimacy. He liked the affection.
I like the affection. Now she's giving him kisses.
She giving him some
he's
lips.
Feeling good.
He getting some lips and he's fine. All he wanted was some lips and he was good.
Yeah, he's feeling good.
He's feeling good.
So that's really it with Mirla and Gil. And I'm missing the page. But anyway.
Let's go to Jose and Rachel.
I'm missing it.
Bump it. Jose and Rachel. Here we go. This was happening with Jose and Rachel. Jose and Rachel were coming off of their, they had to blow up. They had a couple episodes that Jose and Rachel was doing blow ups, and we see that Jose and Rachel are in the kitchen. They're discussing about their relationship. Where's it at now? The improvements. They said that over the last week or two that it has gotten better.
Definitely.
That has gotten better, and they've been communicating more, and that she's starting to fall. She's back in love with Jose. Now, mind you,
I can't stand it.
There's red flags there.
I'm falling in and out of love.
You can't fall in and out of love. In and out of love with Jose. But there's
or not even falling in and out of love. I love him. I love him not.
Nah.
I love him. I love him not.
But it was more of the feeling, the attributes, and what Jose said to her that made her feel some type of way. You can't talk to a woman that type of way and expect them to still have the same passion of love and emotion for you, because they're gonna, again, she's a human being, so she's gonna feel that type of way. Like, dog, you can't. And she said, I'm glad I held my ground. I'm glad I stuck to my ground, and I see Jose making changes. Now, is the changes that Jose make, are they gonna be forever? We don't know, because I still think there's a lot of red flags. I still think Tsunami Jose is in there.
Oh,
and he hasn't changed. He's just being more conscious of what he's doing. Same thing like Michaela. I think Hurricane K is still in there.
Oh, for sure.
And they still just being more conscious of what they're doing, so they don't present that, whether on TV or whether in real life. He's trying to keep it under wraps. And so that's one of the biggest things there was Jose and Rachel keep it under wraps. One thing Rachel did that I thought was kind of, they talked about communication. And what she said was, you have not seen Summer Rachel.
No. Because Jose said, I've never dated someone who had a summer off.
A summer what?
And so basically, we know that Rachel likes to travel. And so, which makes sense. She's in the school system. She has the summers off. So that's what she does in the summer. She travels. And, basically she's like, at the end of this thing, like, I'm not going to have anywhere to stay. I'm thinking probably her lease was up, and they're in this apartment, and so they've already discussed, which makes sense. He's got a nice house, nice big house or whatever. Her moving in there, and so she's like, okay, so then during the summer, I'm not working. I'm in your house. Like, I'm gonna need something to do.
Yeah.
And so I want to travel, and if I can't do that,
I'll be mad.
You're not gonna like bored summer Rachel.
But this is what she said. She said on Unfiltered that we go to work at the same time, we get home at the same time, we do everything together, and so now I'm gonna be home having nothing to do. And I'm sitting there thinking like, okay, if you work in a school system and you're an educator, or I think she's a special education evaluator, and so you're a special education evaluator, and that's what you're gonna do. Find a summer job. Go tutor some kids. Go work ESY, for those who are not in education field, extended school year. All right? Go do something, because special ed...
She does do something. She travels.
But she wants to travel with her husband. But he's not going to take the time off in the summer to travel with her. So find...
Not the whole summer.
Not the whole summer, but find something to do. Get a hobby. Let Twitter, Instagram, social media be your... Find something, but don't tell your husband before it's even summertime, you're not going to like me in the summer. It's like Bruce Banner. You're not going to like me when I'm angry. Come on, you already setting... Y'all just coming off of a... You're just coming off of a hiccup.
A good space.
A good space. And even on Filter, she said, you know what, I could have said it a different way.
Yes.
I didn't have to say it the way that I said it. I could have said it a different way to come across better. And so that's what she has to learn. Like, look, he got red flags, you got some red flags, let's not wake the Hulk. Not walk on eggshells, but be honest with him and be honest with each other that, look, this is what we need to do. This is how we need to maneuver. And I need something in the summertime, and I need trips, because he's already opened the Canon. Well, you can take your trip. He's doing everything he can get back in her good graces. You can do this, you can do that. And so she's going to take full advantage of it this summer.
The one thing that he said, she was talking about traveling. She was like, we've had a lot of firsts.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of firsts with my husband, doing a thing on the baseball field. Yeah. Of course, the goat yoga. And she was like, I like to take, our first trip to Europe. She talked about going to Europe again.
His face was like...
Yeah, and his thing was, he's like, I like to travel. He said it wrong. I was like, wait, huh? He said, I like to go to Texas. I'm like, aren't you... They're in Texas. What?
He meant through Texas.
Yeah, he meant to go. He wanted to do, like, a tour, like a road trip in Texas.
Yeah.
And she was like... I kind of felt that way too.
She felt like, nah, dog. I live in Texas, so
I don't want to stay in
What
Texas.
she said was, my husband doesn't travel like I do, and his interpretation of travel is different from my interpretation of travel.
Yes.
Which, again, traveling does not mean going across country. Traveling can be different parts of the United States. And you take a Winnebago, you take an RV, whatever case may be, and you can travel within the country. There's a lot of great things in this country that won't cost you a lot of money, unless you catch a deal. And unless you catch a deal, so that was with them, and I agree. I agree that Rachel should not move in with Jose. Dog, if she moves in with this dude, first of all, let's deal with the red flags. If he kicked you out of an apartment that neither one of your names on, when you get in a house with this man and he has not changed fully, and he gets mad, he's going to kick you out of his house, which has his name. And if he does not put you on the lease, when the police come, they're going to kick you out the house because your name's not on here.
Well, I don't know.
Oh, no.
No. In some places, you do have squatters' rights. If you someplace for 3 months or more, you got squatters' rights.
He's going to kick her out every 2 months and 29 days. So she doesn't get squatter rights. So she won't have his squatter. Nope, she never lived here 90 days consecutively. Not at all. He's going to put her out. But it is a bad move for her to even interact or to move in with him.
I mean, and their place, the place where they are in a relationship is more sketchy to me than Ryan and Claire were. But that's how we felt about Ryan and Clara. Before decision day, she was already like moving in with him, getting his place straight, rearranging, fixing this, fixing that. I was like,
Because Ryan and Clara was sexing on a regular, and she really thought she was going to be committed and stay in, but Ryan had another thing for her, which their divorce is actually final now. But
yeah.
But he had another thing for her because he was like, you know what, this is not what I want. They had so many red flags too. They never wanted to address the religion thing, and just it was so many barriers with Ryan and Clara. I think with Jose and Rachel, because Rachel talks about that, and I can't remember if it was Unfiltered or the show, that they have everything in common. They eat the same type of foods.
So much in common.
They go to like the same kind of gym. They're like working up. They have a lot in common, and so she's willing to overlook the bad because they have so much in common. She wants to be married, and so sometimes you can't overlook the bad. We're gonna have to fix it and try to work on our relationship. And if she's committed, I'm not telling her to leave Jose, but I'm saying if she's committed to the relationship, they both have to work. She can't be the only one working. Mm-hmm. He has to realize his triggers and what sets him off and deal with it. And it's much more than her calling him Johnny. It's a lot there.
Yeah.
He's controlling.
For sure.
And likes to be in control.
For sure.
So.
Okay. Let's start with the lesser of two evils. For this one.
Brett and Ryan.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, we'll go with Brett and Ryan.
Yeah. So we see Brett meets with her friend Deborah. Mm-hmm. And they talk about, which that's a side note, that was hilarious. Because I like to try to see, okay, who are they talking to or whatever. And I looked away and I didn't see her name. And our oldest daughter literally breezed past the TV. He was like, oh, her name is Deborah. And I was like, how did you see that? I saw it on my peripheral. Anyway, that's a side note.
She can't see look out peripheral while she's driving. But anyway, that's a whole different story. But we love you, Evie. I know you watching the video, so we love you. But your peripheral vision needs to get better.
That thing was funny. But yeah, she's sitting there talking to her friend Deborah, and she talks about the fact that they he set up the movie theater thing, and they watched the wedding video. And Deborah's like, well, how was that? And Brett was like, it was very sentimental to me. It was touching, but it didn't seem to resonate with him. He said it, and we know this too. It didn't, because he was looking at how happy and enthusiastic he was at first, and thinking about where I'm at now, like I don't even like where I'm at.
He don't like her.
So watching the video just kind of mess with him. Like, oof, I still gotta tell this girl I don't like her.
And he wants to be Mr. Nice Guy.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
He doesn't want to do it in a negative way. He doesn't want to do it to hurt her feelings. There's no other. I'm not gonna say he's not gonna pull a Chris and tell her friends. He just gonna go through the motion and not lead her on and not have sex with her and all that other stuff. And eventually she gets the hint. But when he talks to Zach talks to him about that.
Yeah. I want to touch real quick. What Brett says is their real life is not the same as this video.
Right.
Now, and but it was then. In that moment, that 1 day, 2 days, probably till she got on a plane. You know. And Brett basically is like, I could tell he's not that into it. He's checked out. And the doubts that he's having is affecting our interaction with each other. I'm having a rough time. Baxter died, trying to deal with that and trying to figure out where your head is at, bruh, is hard. She says, I had some doubts, I had some reservations, but I got over mine pretty early. I'm not the superficial type. So if it's a physical, thing, that's just not me. And so Deborah was like, "But do you think it's that he's not into you physically?" And Brett was like, "No, it's not just that. It's something else. But I don't know what it is because he's not telling me.
He's not talking.
He's not telling me." So on the flip side, like you said, we see him talking to Zach. And he's basically pouring out of his cup to Zach, which I think it's funny that he's talking to Zach. Who else would he be talking to? But
they're like working out together.
Yeah, but we know all in all, Zach's pretty reasonable. He's pretty sensible, except I think he's emotional. But anyway, but he gave him some.
It's okay. He touched with his feelings.
Yeah, no, I don't mean like that. I mean just what I mean. Not anyway. So, Zach, we see Zach and Ryan working out, and, he's like, how's it going? And Ryan's like, it's hard to say how it's going. I wanted this beautiful thing. I wanted this marriage, this picture perfect marriage, basically. And he was like, it's just not working out like that.
He had expectations. I think we get to this in a minute. All the guys had expectations. Mm-hmm. When you see the guys who are struggling in a relationship, they had expectations of what this should be like. They came into the process expecting
a cookie cutter.
Cookie cutter. Or in Ryan's case, I'm gonna use what his sister did. He came looking for a supermodel, Victoria's Secret model. He came looking at. I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago that he's looking for the type of girl he's always dating.
Mm-hmm.
But with different emotions. He wants the girl he's always dated. He wants her looks, but then he wants, I guess, substance to go with the looks. And he's struggling right now because he has somebody who I think Brett has substance,
mm-hmm.
but she does not have the look that he wants.
Mm-hmm.
And so because he has that look or that TV model, or things that he grew up with, things that he watched and see, maybe his friends have that girl that he wants. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And he see everybody else's wife and like, oh, this is fine. I'm just saying. Yeah. I mean, that's the way he sits there. If you look at him, he looked like he has not slept in weeks.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. Which that whole conversation was strange too. But Zach was like, "Well, does she know how you feel? Like, what's going on?" And Ryan's like, "I think she does." He was like, "No, you can't think. Does she know?" And he was like, "I really kind of need to talk to her." Yeah, you do need to talk to her. Yeah, Zach was like, "Don't put on a front. Tell her exactly how you feel. You got to tell her what's going on." And he was like, "I'm not sure about that. I don't know how I'm going to do that." Because just like we saw on Unfiltered, the whole thing is he doesn't want to hurt her feelings. But what Bao and Rachel and Jamie Otis told him, and Zach kind of said it too, is, by trying not to hurt her feelings, you're hurting her feelings because you're dragging it on.
Oh, because she does.
And the very thing that she's used to, where guys be like, "Well, you're cool, but," I like you, but that's where you are. And he doesn't want to tell her.
But that's where he's at, though. It is, I like you, but you're cool. But even when they went out with Rachel and Jose, right? They went out with Rachel and Jose. He sees some things that he does not like in her. One of the first things he didn't like in her was the airplane situation. That turned him off, right? The situation with the kayak turned him off, right? She is a volleyball coach, right? She's a teacher. She coached other kids, and she works out. And he's expecting her to be very athletic. He expected her to be game, to get involved in things. And when she ran up that wall and didn't want to finish, you could see his face like, this is not who I want to be with. Because he wants somebody who's athletic, somebody who's competitive, somebody who can compete. And I think he said it with his sister, that he never has a dull moment.
Yeah, he's
wants
always
somebody,
up and at it.
He wants somebody to run with him.
I'm not the Netflix and chill type of person.
Yeah. He wants somebody to keep up with him, somebody to go fast paced, somebody can keep it moving, and she wants to sit at home and chill.
But this is the thing that he needs to understand, and we'll see later, it's the same thing that Johnny's family said to him, is what you envision is not necessarily going to be what your everyday life is. And there's some compromising that you have to make when you're in a relationship. Okay, you're a go type of person, and she's not. So you can't expect her to go all the time with you. Change to fit you, but you don't change to fit her. You don't change to fit her at all. You can't do that. I'm not telling you to be a nervous Nelly. I'm not telling you to be all anxious. He told his sister, you know, I'm calm, I'm even keeled, but he said this before, I'm finding myself having to be extra calm because she's so over the top. Which I'd be interested to see that footage. Like, I'm like, what is it that I can see the airplane thing, and I can see the kayak thing, but I'm like, what has happened? And are you saying that when Baxter died, she was falling all over the bed and, you know, ripping up the sheets, and like she didn't want to go on with her life? Like, I'm like, what's happening now that you're like, I don't like her personality? What the heck?
It's not only just the Baxter thing. It's not just the kayak thing. It's not just the Jose and Rachel thing when they went out and she couldn't climb the wall or get up or she quit. It is also the messiness that she has. He's used to being a neat freak. He used to being clean. He used to doing things on his way, not waiting for somebody else. He's being able to maneuver, and it becomes now, it feels like she's more of an ankle weight that he has to carry.
Yes.
Than more so of a spouse, which is along with him. I think I used with you one time the analogy. They're in the same race. They're on the same track. They're just not running at the same pace. And so when you're not running at the same pace, and he feel like he's getting ready to lap her because she's so far behind of where he wants her to be at, that they should be running together. And he doesn't want to deal with that. He wants somebody who, you know what, a cookie cutter mode, that we're running side by side and we're in this scene together. As much as she likes to work out, we have yet to see her work out with him. Right? Except for, they did the Tantra yoga thing. But other than that, where are the other times where they eat breakfast together? But where are the other things that they do where they're building that connection? And he tries, even with the notes he left for last week, right? He was trying, but I like it, but where's the rest of the effort? You know what I'm saying? What else are you doing besides leaving out? And how far in between are you doing those things to try to build some type of excitement? You said this when we was watching. They need to start doing the Jacob and Haley thing, where they need to lay with each other and hug each other and touch each other or whisper in each other's ear or build that connection with each other. But I just trying to do different things. But I think Ryan, is he checked out? No. Is he doing just enough to get by so he doesn't hurt her feelings?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, because Brett said to her friend Deborah, my hope is waning. You know, everybody has a breaking point, and I'm getting close to it. Again, we see Ryan talk to his sister Alexa, and, you know, I'm so conflicted on so many things, which is not normal for me. I'm not usually the type of person that's conflicted. Yeah. And all of that comes down to, bruh, it's because you're not being honest. You're not telling her what's what. You're holding yourself in a prison of your emotions because you don't want to tell her what's going on. I rather, if you know, being Brett, I'd rather just have my feelings hurt up front than later on. I don't want to be like Keith and Iris and get to daggone decision day, and she was like, "What?" Keith was like, "No, thank you."
You know my one, Will and Jasmine.
Them too.
Where Will was giving signals of Jasmine, and then Jasmine wanted to stay married. Will like, nah, that's all right, done deal.
Yeah. So, like you said, Ryan talked about the fact that they have different. Well, first of all, his sister was like, "How's it been living with a woman?" Because they live together, and he was like, "It's definitely different living than living with my sister." He said, you know, he noticed on the honeymoon that the room was chaotic, that she had stuff everywhere. And he said when they first got to the apartment, it was okay. He said, but now I'm seeing it. You know, the other bedroom is full of her mess.
Married at First Sight is messy because they show the room in the bathroom, dog. They show, and it's stuff like everywhere. Yeah, you can't do that.
He said, you know, it's taking her a long time to wash her clothes. I mean, I think, doggone it, I think everybody's been guilty of this. Stop it.
But
you put your stuff in the washing machine. you forget about it, and you'll put it in the dryer.
You can't leave your stuff in the washing machine where it starts to stink with mildew. Because he was like, I guarantee she still ain't get it yet. That's what he said. So it's like she leaves that bad boy in there a long time.
Yeah, she leaves the dishes in the sink.
But this is where a good husband will come in, right? If he knows she's washing clothes and it's in there, he takes the clothes out. And if he knows that she's messy, he'll clean it up, and don't say a word. He'll clean it up again, and don't say a word. But
it's just like you said. When you're in a space where you don't like somebody, every little thing gets on your nerves. For example, just like you said, Alexa was like, okay, so Brett leaves dishes in the sink, she leaves clothes around, and so Alexa was like, well, if she was a Victoria's Secret model, how would you feel about her leaving the dishes in the sink? He said, I would clean the dishes up with a smile on my face.
Because he doesn't like her. It's the red hair, the look, and he thinks she's unattractive. And again, he has this is what gets me. Tell Meredith, when on the application, you tell Meredith first, like, you know what? I like blonde hair, blue eyes. I like dark hair, thick in the waist, junk in the whatever case may be.
But apparently they do say that. But the other, like, let's take Mirla and Gil. Mirla said, I don't like bald men. And what does she see coming down the aisle?
A bald man.
Because Pastor Cal said the other thing is, he said this before, with a lot of couples, we see what you like and everything, but we're putting you with somebody that hopefully help you get over the superficial. That's superficial stuff.
Yeah, it is.
That's superficial stuff. And that's been that's been Ryan's problem, not Rhett Butler. That's been Ryan's problem is you keep fooling with, and Johnny too, you're fooling with these women that fit your look, but underneath there's nothing there.
Nothing there.
And that's why you're still single. Because you can't find somebody with some substance, and here, the very thing that you need, you can't get to because you can't get past what's on the outside. You need some God glasses. You need some God glasses. Because God don't look at the outside, he look at the heart. You need to be looking at the heart.
But they look at the physical, right?
Uh-huh.
And when we talk about Johnny and Bao, they don't look at the little things that they may be doing, the little things that Ryan may be doing for Brett, which is key for his self-esteem. And he said it last week, how she's being patient with him, how she's building him up, how she's helping him. Mm-hmm. Those things should be the things that he should be looking at. Like, you know what? No one has ever spent that much time with me. No one has taken that time to get to know me in that on that level. He can't get past the physical. Mm-mm. And that will be the downfall of their marriage, because he can't get past her look. He can't get past her anxiety. He can't get past it for cleanliness. I mean, that's a big one, though.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big one. But again, that's something that can be fixed.
Yeah.
With, again, proper, I don't want to call it training. We're working together and having expectations and standards in your marriage.
And it's
that
called communication.
Yeah, communication.
Say it to her. You know. And not, you gonna clean the dishes up? So you just gonna leave that right there?
Look, I listen.
You gotta say, like, hey, let's let's clean these dishes up. Do you mind putting your dishes in the dishwasher when you finish? It's only 2 of us, and it's all the dishes in this cabinet are missing.
I listened to a podcast this week, and the guy was saying on the podcast that when he got married, him and his wife, he wasn't good at cleaning up, and he basically asked her, what's your standards of cleaning? And she was like no one ever lives here. I wanted my kitchen, I want the living room, I want the house to be like no one lives here. And she actually showed him what it looks like when no one's lived here. So there's no dishes in the sink, there's no food left in the sink, the counters are wiped off, this, that, and the other. If there's a piece of mail, it's in a drawer or the place that we designed to put the mail at. And that's, again, when you're in a relationship and when you're in a marriage, there is a training process because everybody is different and everybody's definition of clean is different. Everybody's definition of anxiety is different. So he has to realize, understand her levels and explain and tell her his expectations. But if you're not communicating that, it's not going to happen. So, especially when you decide that you want to sleep in another room.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that real quick. But the one thing he did say is he knows he needs to talk to her, but it's uncomfortable for him. He said the one thing about his family is they didn't have a lot of depth in their family. They didn't talk about feelings a lot. And so, you know, it's hard for him to get there. And his sister has come to the realization that he hasn't transitioned into married life at all.
No.
You know, it's like, have you figured out why you're matched? And he was like, I said I wanted a good person. I wanted somebody, a good community. You know, she's a good person. She's a good communicator. She's competitive. She's easy to talk to. But the only thing is she gets worked up. So a lot of the things that he asked for, he got. He just can't get past her being high strung and getting worked up, and then the fact that she's a redhead. You know, so he said it's wearing on him. You know, I used to be more calm. I'm not like I'm on edge. You're on edge again because you won't talk to that woman, and it's like the Joker that commits a crime. They're usually pretty cool, calm, and collective. But they commit a crime and they're on edge every day because they're trying to figure out, are they going to come after me? We watched that on the Dateline. This man committed a crime and every day he was like, police cars would go past and I'd be like, oh, are they coming to get me? Because you're on edge because you holding back. You got something that you're hiding. Ryan's got something that you're holding in, and so you're on edge. He
doesn't want to hurt her feelings, but bruh ain't getting no sleep.
No. We find out he's sleeping on the couch. I think we kind of figured they weren't sleeping in the same bed. But I'm like, when he said that, he was like, man, I'm not getting any sleep. I'm so tired. I'm so uncomfortable. It's not working out. And I was like, I looked at my husband. I said, don't they have 2 bedrooms? And that's when he was like, sleeping out here. I'm like, oh my gosh.
At least he's still staying at the apartment. Because some other couples there not staying at the apartments, and so he's still there. But he didn't act like when he was sitting there talking to her, he didn't want to get out. Can I go to, can I sleep in the, he didn't want to get out like, dog, I'm going to the other room to sleep.
She was like, it's okay.
She
was like, just out. Since he said it anyway, a lot of her stuff is in the extra bedroom, strewn all over the place. She was like, I'll just take the rest of my stuff in there, go and get in the bed.
Go get in the bed.
But at the same time, she's looking at him like, get it out. Yeah. Get it out. What you got to say.
He doesn't want to hurt her.
He can't.
He can't. He trying not to hurt her feelings. But don't he realize that when she watched this, or they do have to make a decision on decision day, and I think Zach said this, or her sister said it, you don't want to blindside the girl.
Keith and Iris.
Yeah, don't blindside her. Please don't blindside her. But that's the way he's doing.
Listen.
She knows
between him and Johnny, y'all better thank the Lord. I'm married, and I ain't no married at first sight, and I ain't get matched them because both of them, I come across the table.
Please don't come across the table.
I would come across the table. Let's get to the nastiness.
Yeah, John,
the worst of the worst on that episode. The worst of the worst. I'm like,
look, really. I need to know in the comments before we even get there. And we're gonna talk about Johnny and Bao. Let me know in the comments: is Johnny getting up there with Chris? Is Johnny, in your opinion, getting up there with Chris? Can we put Chris and Johnny right now in the same conversation with being bad husbands. After this episode, I think Johnny and Chris are in the same conversation. In my opinion. Because he told that girl to her face.
Let's get.
Oh yeah, let's get to
okay,
it.
so we see them the opening with them. They're making zucchini noodle bolognese. Her gourmet cooking. Johnny with your line behind.
But he was helping her.
Talking about she don't gourmet cook. So he said he's 50-50 in a relationship right now.
Yeah.
You know, you've been saying things that are not true, and he was like, you know, I need to talk to her. You know, I need to talk to her about it. He's having a hard time figuring out how to approach it, but you know, it's like she likes doing chores, and they're having a conversation while they're cooking. So that's my thing. So basically, what she said, my love language is acts of service.
Yeah.
I do chores. I'll clean up. I'll get food. Go to grocery shopping. If your clothes are like you said with Ryan, you wash your clothes. I'll fold them up and put them away from you. That's what I like to do.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's acts of service. She washes clothes, put his clothes away. She's helping Johnny out, but he doesn't see that.
Well, because that's not his love language. But we even see where Bao says, I'm trying to give him what his love language is, which is physical touch. That's not me, and I'm trying to be more touchy-feely, and I'm darned if I do, and darned if I don't.
What kind of physical touch that he wants? This is a woman, he said that she's trying to have sex once or even twice a day. What kind of other physical touch does he want?
Again, you nitpicking. We're going to get there. So, the one thing is, she says, speaking of her wanting to have sex 1 or 2 times a day, she said, I have a happy drawer. I usually don't tell people this. I got a happy drawer for myself. And she said, you know, one day I'd like to share it with you. And he was like, well, I wouldn't mind you sharing it with me. You know, but at the same time, I think with that comment, I was like, brother, really? In the back of your mind, you still like, I don't like her. but you want to indulge in the happy drawer. You want to indulge in sex with her.
Right. But she said because he likes to talk, I guess want to talk dirty or the intimate talk throughout the day, the flirtatious talk throughout the day. And so that's what she's trying to do to meet his needs. And what's funny was, not funny, but what's funny is we watched the show with subtitles. Not because I just like to read the subtitles, but it didn't say drawer, it said chore. I got a happy chore. I thought that was, I just got a kick out of that. Anyway, but she got a happy drawer.
Yeah, she said, I'm normally not flirty. I'm trying to be more flirty because that's what he likes. And then Johnny goes left. He set her up. You know, he was like, well, while we're cooking and eating everything, let's have a truth or sip. And so she was like, I'm going to get right into it. What's going to be your decision on decision day?
He was like, oops.
And he was like,
he had a sip because he didn't think that she went straight to the gusto. He
didn't want to answer the question.
He didn't want to answer the question. She went straight there like, okay, I need to know what is going to be on decision day. Which I like this because they really didn't show couples having that discussion prior to decision day. Well, like, what are you going to do? I'm glad that they're showing it now that they're having this discussion, which everybody knew they was having this discussion anyway. But she want to know, like, I need to be prepared. I need to know, are you going to say yes? You're going to say no? And he's like, silence is the answer. Mm-hmm. Silence is the answer.
But she said, you know, I would stay married. And we absolutely got this from Bao. She was like, I'm not quitting. I'm not a quitter. She said, I don't want to have any regrets. I'm putting my all into it. And, you know, he's like, oh, I like that attitude. But on the side, you know, he's like saying, I'm not feeling you. But he says also, by not saying yes on decision day, it's like, you know, I would feel like a failure. He says, you know, we've had such highs and lows that I'm not sure. I don't want to be a failure. You know, I don't want to prove my dad's initial thought right. But he still didn't say, yeah, I would say yeah.
No, because again, you got to realize Johnny's a perfectionist. And so he talks about all the things Bao try to do, keep the appearance up, keep the looks up and all this. He's that way as well. Mm-hmm. He wants to keep the look, again, and I know I'm jumping ahead. That's one reason he didn't really want to take her around his family. because he didn't want it to look like what it really is. And so he's like, she's not gonna go. He wants things to be a perfectionist. He has we laughed at Jose's list at the beginning of the show, and I think they cut some stuff out because I think every one of those guys had a list. And
I'm sure Ryan
and Gil know how to handle it a little bit more. I know Zach probably had a list, right? And so when Johnny is checking off his list, Bao doesn't fit a lot of things on his list. And so he's like, I'm here, I want marriage, I like her, but I don't know.
I don't know. In this whole conversation, I didn't get the impression that he liked her.
He likes her.
No. He liked what she could do for him.
But even before she started doing stuff and they started getting in a happy drawer and all, and he started getting happy draws and all that other stuff, he liked her. He wanted to get to know her even more. He wanted to be married, and now Johnny's at the point. I think Johnny's caught up by looking at everybody else's marriage and start playing that game. Oh, they're doing this and they're doing that, but we're not doing this. And he has a lot of insecurities in himself that he needs to handle and deal with. That he don't know how to deal with. At least Bao can say, you know what, I messed up, I'm honest. Even when we got to the little petty stuff about cooking, on the previous episode, he said she doesn't cook any gourmet meals, right? On this episode, he says we cook meals together. Well, if y'all cook...
You said you cook them by yourself. You don't cook them, we cook them together. Whether I cook them with you or by myself, does it get made and does it get ate?
But that's a lie, too, because in the previous episodes, she has cooked him at least 2 meals that we've seen on camera by herself, right? So, I don't know what he's looking for. Does he want a gourmet meal every night? Does he want a wife to stay home and it's 1950 where she want Mrs. Cleaver? If that's what you want, make it known. You know what I'm saying? That I want you to be home, don't work, make sure you have food on the table, blah, 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 blah. But my question to the audience and you guys, maybe I missed something. What has Johnny ever done for Bao? Because a marriage relationship is give and take. It's not just you give. It's just not just you take. It's both. So if you get home before her, are you cooking gourmet meals? Because we saw the scene that he said all he can cook is meatballs, and put some little pesto on it. So you want her to take on this traditional role in marriage, but to handle everything else, work and do all this, but you're not willing to pitch in and help out.
They had that conversation, some more truth and sip. Do you feel like you're putting 100% in this? And she was like, yes. And he was basically like, oh, really? Because when I compare your 100% to mine, I'm doing 150%.
Again, wrong problem. In marriages, you don't compare who's doing what. You don't compare, I'm doing 100 and you're doing 150. No, because whatever percentage it is, you're working out for each other. Y'all working out for your relationship, working out for the good. So we don't compare.
But I disagree with him. No, I disagree with him. You can't say that's not her 100%. Everybody's 100% is not the same.
Yes.
So that's 100% for her. She is absolutely out of her comfort zone. If anything, I would say she's giving 150%. She's doing things. She's being more patient with you probably than she would be. She's being more affectionate with you because she said it. I do the sex thing. I don't necessarily do the affection.
Yeah.
She's doing this. She's giving you more than enough. It's like, and she's doing the practical stuff. And he was like, he's like, I don't care about that. I didn't ask you to do that. And she was like, but that's how I show how I care. He was like, basically, I don't care. Like, what about the planning dates? I'm planning dates. I'm buying you gifts. I'm being flirty. I'm doing date nights. And, she was like, give me some credit for what I'm doing.
Right.
Like you said, if I compare what you do to what I do, it's not necessarily going to match because we're different people.
And we have different love languages. Because so now, let's say he believes that her love language is gifts and stuff, right? But she wants quality time. So he's spending all his gifts and stuff, and really you're not meeting that person's love language, right? And so now she's being affectionate to you. And so you have to be able to get that. So you have to be able to meet each other where you are. And when you meet each other where they are, then you be able to realize that we're both doing 100% in the area to please the other person. And he's not there yet. And he doesn't understand that. He doesn't see that yet. And they have to call Pastor Cal in.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And he was upset about that. Because, he said, it was some things I want to talk to Val about before I take her to the family barbecue and before I talk to Pastor Cal. I wanted to talk to her about it between ourselves before we went there. Bro, you lollygagging though. She was like, forget that. Mm-hmm. Because I don't want to just talk to you about it because I know it's going to be some bull.
Some bull.
And so I might as well, that's what the experts are there for. Let's get him involved and let's get to the root of the matter. Mm-hmm. Okay? And so, you know, she wants him to be less negative, give him some credit, see the good. And she's talking about this in her vignette, you know, because while they're cooking, you know, he talks about tap me in the morning, get me up when you do yoga. Let's do this. I want you to cook by yourself more, but I want you to come get me to do yoga. And I want you to come, like, where you, doggone it. You need to tell me, what things should we be doing together? What should we be doing by ourselves? I don't understand.
But again, it goes to a conversation. What are we supposed to do? Where's the conversation at where we are setting these things in order? If you want us to get up to work out, tell me. All right, let's get up and work out. If you want us to get up together, pray or meditate, whatever case may be, let me know. Because she's not a mind reader. And vice versa. Whatever you want Johnny to do, Johnny, I want you to touch me. I want you to make love to me and you know, in your mind before we get physical. Whatever she wants, all right? But if you don't communicate those things, it's not going to happen. And what Pastor Cal was telling him, it seems like you got somebody else. It's not, and I didn't think he had anybody else. I think he's checked out thinking about other people.
Right. And but what Pastor Cal said, well, I want to say this real quick though. What Pastor Cal said was, in the end, the somebody else that Johnny has is his ideal. Mm-hmm. His ideal woman. Which it's very rare that you're gonna find you're not gonna find somebody that's gonna meet every single box. They're gonna squeeze they're gonna squeeze the freaking toothpaste in the middle. They're gonna leave their shoes someplace. You gotta pick and choose your battles. You gotta pick and choose your battles. Why are you looking at me like that?
Or they're gonna be 5'6" and not 6'4".
Well, while she's in her video.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
I'm over it.
You're over that. I know. 20 years later, I'm still not 6'4". So guess what? It's not gonna.
Growing.
It ain't growing. It's not gonna happen.
Ain't growing. But when she's doing her vignette, we hear this boy in the room screaming, howling, having a temper tantrum, and he comes out, we're just not compatible. Like, I don't understand why. You know, she was like, but I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere. Wow. She's there comforting him while he's acting like a freaking child. Like, oh my gosh.
And what Val said was this on Unfiltered. She said, we both can't be emotional.
Let me tell you something. We
both can't be emotional while this is going on. In which I believe she has a great point. You know, she does. She has a great point, right? Because if we're both emotional, then that creates the argument. It makes the argument even greater. It makes it explode even more. If she gets that much emotional. I
heard. I mean, we know that too. But that is one piece of advice that I heard a pastor and a wife talk about. They were talking about their son being in an accident or something, and they said they always have a thing where we can't both be broke down. We can't both be up here. We can't both be down here. And in this moment where they were in the hospital waiting area, like he talks to his wife, was like, are you done? Not like, are you done? But like, it's my turn to break down now. You know, and she said that we can't both be a wreck.
Yeah.
Somebody gotta be sound-minded. And so she was like, okay, he's losing it, so I'm gonna be the one to let me be grounded right now. And really try to get them together. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, yeah, you try to get it together. So I think that she wants to get it together. She wants him to get together and be a man about it, and not necessarily break down. I mean, he was screaming like it was the end of the world. Like he was screaming like he was breaking stuff in the room.
Okay.
Yeah, so he said like he was breaking stuff in the room. So it was, to me, Johnny was freaking out like, I can't get at Val, but I'm gonna get at whoever's in this room. I can't. I got cameras around me. I'm yelling. I'm screaming. I'm gonna get it out. And then he's really emotional. And this is what I think about him. Unlike we talk about Chris.
Y'all excuse me.
Chris was honest, all right? Chris was honest about doing what he needed to do to get things done, right? Chris was tremendously honest about saying, hey, guess what? At the end of the day, I don't like you, Paige. At the end of the day, I need to be in a different relationship. But Johnny, in this case, Johnny doesn't know what he wants. Johnny doesn't know if he wants to be with Paige. Not Paige. Johnny doesn't know he wants to be with Val. Johnny doesn't know he wants to leave. Johnny doesn't know if he wants to stay. Johnny is all over the place. And I think that's one of his dilemmas is he doesn't know what to do. Doesn't know what to do. So he does not know what to do. I keep my shoes up. Man, but one of the big things is Johnny. This is the thing where I have with Johnny. Johnny went and they were supposed to meet his family. They were supposed to meet their family at a barbecue. And at a barbecue. And Val was preparing for this barbecue the whole time. She said, I'm going to learn everybody's name in Mandarin. I'm going to make sure that we're in a good space. We're going to make sure that we're connected. I want to be there. She's preparing for this. And Johnny said, oh, yeah, we're going to be there. You're going. And after that little spat, he goes home. Now, I have a problem with the men in this episode who keep checking out. I have a problem with men who keep leaving the space and go home. At least be where you're at, and we try to work it out. Wake up in the morning and have a conversation again, converse again. But leaving and not dealing with it, or try to say your home, your original home, is your safe space. That can't be your safe space if you're married. Which I think Married at First Sight did a great idea by letting the couples come and stay together. But they should have a rule that you can't go back to your home unless you're in danger, physical type of danger. Because I think Johnny using the home now, I think Ryan used it one time as a scapegoat, man. Get back there and handle a situation. Because in true marriages, you can't really break out like that and leave for days at a time. And especially dealing with some women, you're not going to be able to come back. So Johnny leaves, Val stays there, and she's really confused about what's going on with Johnny, and she just wants to make sure everything was fine. You know, everything goes right, and she's getting prepared for this family barbecue. Now, Johnny gets to the family barbecue and basically tells Val, hey, you're not going. You're not going to the barbecue. You're not going to meet my family. And then he explains later why he didn't want her to go meet his family. And I think he said it because he doesn't want his family to get attached to Val. Now, Val, if you're Val and you hear this, that's a major red flag. And when I say major red flag, it is tremendously a major red flag because that means I don't want you to be connected to my family. I don't want you to be connected here. I don't really like you enough to have you around my family. If they was dating, this probably would have been a deal breaker. But since they married and she's trying to stay together, whether it's for the check or whether it's really for the relationship, she was hurt and put up with it. One thing that Johnny's uncle said, I think it was Uncle Frankie said, like, dog, you're not in high school anymore. This is not a high school relationship thing. You're married. So basically, I need you to grow up and be married. Grow up and do what men do. And what men do is handle issues and handle situations. They tell their wife how they feel, and they do it in a good moment, in a good space, in a good time. And Johnny is really struggling. I mean, you can see it. We thought Ryan was stressing. Johnny is between anger, stress, and just losing his total mind. And we're not sure where he's at right now, but Johnny is tremendously out there. So at the barbecue, everybody's giving Johnny sound advice. Like, look, stick with Val, work it out. Marriage is not easy. You know, marriage is not easy. Marriage is one of those situations where you're going to have to work at it. You're going to have to work on things. Y'all different people who are coming together for a common goal. And the common goal is to spend the rest of your life together. That's why those vows are important. For sickness and health until death do us part. And Johnny, when they took those vows, I don't know if they really mean that it was going to be, they really meant what they were going to say. Because it's not easy. He known Val for like all these years, but they never was in a relationship together. Johnny said there's a part there between time where he wished he's been matched with anybody else. You know, this is when they talking past the cow. We talked about Chris last episode when he says, you know what, you could have matched me with a white woman, an Asian woman, a Korean woman, anybody but Paige. Johnny goes on to say the same thing when they met with Pastor Cal after they get back from the barbecue because they, you know, Bao was so hurt. And Bao said something that was key, which I like. She said, I'm not going to meet with you by yourself. We're going to meet with an expert. Now, which lets me believe that anytime on the show, they can meet with an expert. They got Pastor Cal was in this car. They called him up on Zoom and they met with Pastor Cal talking about this situation. You know, and he said, y'all could have matched me. He just matched me with anybody else other than her. Like, dang, she's that terrible. Like, he acted like she's like stabbing him in his sleep, or scratching him up, or cutting him, or doing whatever while she sleep. He's not doing any of those things. She's not doing any of those things. What she's doing is trying to hold him accountable to be a man, and hold him accountable to be a good husband, hold him accountable to be a good spouse, hold him accountable to be, you know, to love her, to embrace her, to care for her. You know, he said, come on, dude, this is BS, basically. What you're saying is not true. You was infatuated with this woman. You like this woman. She just does not meet what your expectations are. And I think Johnny has to learn in the relationship with Bao how to handle and how to deal with gratification. He doesn't want her at this point. He gotten what he got. He got the sex. It might be a little bit too much for him. She's not as submissive. This is what I get. Y'all let me know if I'm wrong. She's not as submissive as he wants her to be. He wants her to be submissive and to meet all his needs, and not to meet and him not trying to meet her needs. He's trying to be selfish. I think he's one of those selfish guys, and he's sabotaging it. Instead of just saying, Val, you know what, I want out, I think he's making up things, making up excuses in order to find a way out, and it's not coming off well. It's looking terrible on his standpoint because he's making excuses about the relationship. He's making excuses about what she's doing and what she's not doing. And again, Bao, from what we see, Bao's still trying to be committed because she wants to be married. She wants to stay married to Johnny. Later on, we see Johnny and Bao at that night, you know, after they finished talking to Pastor Cal, and Pastor Cal kind of ripped into Johnny a little bit, which, again, Johnny has a problem. Johnny has a problem with communicating. Jose has a problem with communicating. Ryan has a problem with communicating. This is where, because he had to pull out of Johnny what was going wrong. Come on, Johnny. If you're having an issue, this is the guy who's going to help you. You had no problem talking to him earlier. This is the guy that, and maybe he was trying to protect Bao, but at this point, there's no protection when you already told her that you didn't want to be with her. That you already told her that she's kind of not attracted, that you're not attracted to her anymore. So why protect now? You know, why protect now? And again, he went a little too far with this thing with Bao. I think in my opinion, he went far talking to Bao and saying that to her. If you marry, you should never put your spouse down like that, or never talk about your spouse in that manner. And Johnny is really, he's out there. I mean, and face to face there, and she took it on the chin. She took it on the chin, because I know a lot of you out there, and a lot of folks in here, if Jack was beside me right now, a lot of people wouldn't have taken it that nice and that easy. Because once he said that you was ugly, or that you're not attractive, that you could have got anybody else, it would have been a done deal. But it makes you think, where is Johnny hurting at? Johnny's really hurting somewhere. And whether it's for his father or it's for his family, is an appearance type thing. And Bao said this on Unfiltered, which I like the way they do Unfiltered now, because Unfiltered comes on after the show, and the cast are actually watching it. And she said, you know, it's hurtful because she has really gotten close to Johnny's mom, that she calls Johnny mom, and he's gotten really close to Johnny's family, and now it's like I have to separate this and separate our relationship, and I want to stay married. I want to be committed. I want to stay committed to Johnny. I want to stay committed to our relationship. And I think what Bao and Johnny need to do in order to get their relationship better, they have to define the roles. They have to define what are the roles in our relationship. What are the roles that we're gonna have. Am I gonna be the cooker? Am I gonna be the cooker, the cleaner? I'm gonna take care of you. Am I gonna be the provider? I'm gonna be the hugger. What roles? Or we're gonna cross roles. Maybe we don't define roles. Maybe there's not man roles or women roles. But what is the role? You know, what role do we have? You know, Johnny wonders why. I think Johnny has seen a lot in his family. That's why his mom and dad are divorced. I think Johnny's seen this. I think Johnny doesn't want divorce in his family. I think Johnny, but he hasn't learned anything, how to handle a relationship. He hasn't learned how to communicate. Again, when you're someone who's a perfectionist and it doesn't go their way, he doesn't know how to handle adversity. And in marriage, there will be some type of adversity. You know, and he's over the edge right now. He's over the edge. And Johnny's crying for help. And I don't know if anybody's there to help him. Pastor Cal, you know, they did this Zoom meeting. To me, that's when the intervention come in. We'll see next week, because they said on next week's episode, each one's going to sit down with an individual counselor. And so we'll see if Johnny gets that intervention that he needs. But I do know that Bao is a good woman. So right now, if you look at what we have on the show, we got Ryan, who's not dealing with Brett. They sleep in separate rooms. You have Johnny, who was at his own apartment with Bao. Well, at least we got Michaela and Zach working with each other now. We got Gil and Mirla doing pretty well. We have Jose and Rachel, to me, is up and down. She's just on along for the ride, but there's still a lot of red flags in their relationship. The men in this season have more red flags, in my opinion, than the women. We might work on a video like that talking about the men, the red flags of the Men of Married at First Sight season 13, because a lot of them have a lot of red flags, a lot of baggage that they brought into a relationship. Johnny brought daddy issue baggage into a relationship. Zach brought hurt issues and being talked too crazy in the relationship in there. Ryan brought superficial looks and emotions into his relationship with Brett. So it's a lot of issues as the men. I'm not saying the women haven't brought issues, but we always deal with women who have issues when we talk about these shows. There's a lot of men here on this that have issues and that they have not dealt with getting into the relationship. You know, Johnny was just raw. He came out and said everything. And we talk about Jose's truth. Man, Johnny's truth is far off as well. We talked about the cooking thing, the gourmet, all those things that Johnny has put in his mind that he wants Bao to live up to. I just need Bao to say, Johnny, this is what my expectations are for you, and I need you to live up to this. You know, let me know. Do y'all think it's a cultural thing? Is it a cultural thing that Johnny is trying to get Bao to live up to, and that he knows she's not? She's the independent woman. It's 2021. There's some things that culturally she may not be willing to do if he wants her to be that submissive and to do all those things and meet all his needs, and he's not willing to attend to her. I think that's a big issue there for them. It has to be commitment together. They have to understand each other. They have to acknowledge each other. They have to understand, and they have to show effort and put in effort for each other. If they don't put the effort in, they don't put the commitment in, they don't put the time in, the marriage will not work. Will not work. They have to be committed, show time, and show effort. Johnny has to learn that. He has to learn Bao, what makes her tick. And Bao has to learn Johnny. I'm not blaming all this on Johnny, because Bao can't be that wife that always gives in. That's why I like Rachel so much. If you look at Rachel from this past episode, or even from last episode, Rachel stood up to Jose. And if Jose really wants to be married, he'll conform and change a little bit. And he's making progress. Zach stood up to Michaela. And Michaela is making changes. Not standing up to the point where you're fighting each other, but standing up and saying, I'm not taking you to talk to me like this. I'm not standing up for you to have these issues with me or dealing with this. If we're going to be married, we're going to be married. We're going to work this thing out together. And yet we have not seen Bao do that. He has not seen Bao do it. I need Bao to stand up and say, you know what? Enough's enough, Johnny. This is what we're going to do. Enough's enough. This is how we're going to handle it. Enough's enough. This is what we're going to say. This is how we're going to deal with it. And this is what we want out of a relationship. And maybe, just maybe, the Dr. Pepper and Dr. Viviana and Pastor Cal will give her the courage and the strength to stand up to Johnny. We'll never know. But I want to see that. I want to see her stand up to Johnny and say, you know what? This is what I'm going to stand for, and this is what I'm not going to stand for. And I need Bao to stand up. Bao needs to be a Zach, be a Paige a little bit. Stand up and say, you know what? This is what I want. This is what I need. And you know what, Johnny? You're not going to talk to me like that. You know, and that's where we at there. You know, and you know Jac's back. But we talking about Bao. You know, Bao needs to stand up to Johnny, which we haven't seen. Because you said you would have slapped him inside the face.
Oh, you told him that?
Yeah.
Oh, I told my husband I would have went upside Johnny's head. Had he have said in front of me, I would have rather be matched with literally anybody else.
Yeah.
Bro, you ain't that much of a catch. I know who you think you're talking to.
But yeah, I mean, again, she needs to stand up to him. I think she needs to stop sheltering inside. Maybe that's not her demeanor, or maybe not being her character or makeup. But she needs to, you know what, be forceful with Johnny. That's not happening. You're not going to talk to me crazy. You're not going to say, I'm ugly. Either be married with me or not. You're going to stay in your apartment, and do what you need to do.
Yeah.
You know, so, but this episode of Married at First Sight was very interesting. Johnny and Bao has a lot of drama. So I try to wait till you get back, but go ahead.
I'm telling you, between Johnny and Ryan, I would have issue. If I was there matched with them.
Yo,
I was matched with them.
No, they want to know why you came back with no glasses on. You was fighting outside.
No.
Nah. She came back. We'll be honest. She came back. She had to go pick up my teenage daughter from work. So we had to hold it down while she go pick up my teenage daughter from work.
The glasses are fake anyway. No, I'm just kidding.
No fighting here. No fighting. No Tim's and Vaseline. But
they're real. I need them to read. I can't.
All right.
It doesn't do me any good.
Before we get out of here this week, all right, make sure y'all hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell notification.
You cut me off.
No, I'm sorry.
I was talking about the glasses.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I was on a roll. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was on a roll, so guess what?
It's okay.
The floor is yours.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
You sure? The floor is yours.
I'm finished talking about it.
Any more thoughts on Johnny and Bao?
No, because I don't know what you said, but the biggest thing that I just like that Pastor Cal put him in his place and was like, bro, do you see her sitting here listening? She's sitting here taking it. You know what I'm saying? You got to give her some credit for that. Because I think Pastor Cal was in my mindset too. Like, bro, you ain't going to find no whole lot of women just going to sit there and listen and let you talk like that.
He ain't got a sister.
Appreciate what you get.
Yeah, you need to appreciate what he has.
But anyway, you can.
Because she cooked for him, because she was stabbing. What was it ever in that Instapot? She was stabbing.
She was.
she was stabbing what was in the Instapot, but no.
I be thinking Val got a little bit of African American in it, because you know we got to stab our cereal before we eat it.
she was stabbing whatever was in that pot, but not. All right, list your couples this week. I know we do this every week. Your top 5 right now. Your top 5 couples as this week.
Mirla and Gil are number 1. Okay.
All right.
Mirla and Gil. For this week.
I'm
not mad at Michaela and Zach.
Okay.
So I'm going to put them number 2. Then I'm going to have to put Jose and Rachel. And I don't care what you say. Bao and Johnny. No. I was going to say they tied. No. Brett and Ryan, number 4. Mm-hmm. Bao and Johnny, number 5.
Yeah, Bao and Johnny, number 5.
I really want to tie them, but for this week, Johnny was the worst. The worst.
Johnny's starting to rank
At
up.
least Ryan wasn't there.
Johnny's starting to rank up there with like some of the worst husbands on Married at First Sight. He's up there with Luke.
Woo!
Luke, Chris.
Luke and Will.
Chris. Keith.
No. To me, Luke and Will ain't bad as Chris.
Luke said she repulsed him. After he said sex with the girl, he said she repulses him. That's bad.
I don't know if I trust that.
Okay, but
because he said it was like kiss. He talked about kissing it. That's not what it was. A lot of people try to say Luke is, you know.
But nah, he got a girl. My top five. Mirla and Gil's number 1.
Uh-huh.
This week Zach and Michaela.
Uh-huh.
I will have to throw in after Zach and Michaela, Jose and Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna throw Brett and Ryan at 4.
So we in the same order.
We're in the same order,
Mm-hmm.
and Bao and Johnny at the bottom of the list because Johnny, talk about checked out. At least Ryan is participating. Johnny's gone. Johnny is checked out. Johnny is checked out. Totally gone.
So gone over, but not over her, but
yeah, he's
so
gone. He's gone. So he's gone. Hey, so let us know what you think. Give us your top 5 for this week. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of our episodes. I was gonna say the same thing, Miss Wilson. Luke do like black women.
I was gonna say that's what it is.
He likes black women.
That's what it is.
They matched him up with the wrong color. I think Virginia liked black men, but that's a whole different story as well. So they matched her up with the wrong person.
Woo.
So I think Virginia liked brothers as well. So
She definitely don't like a MAGA.
Nah, she doesn't. She does not. But sometimes you got to match them up and cross pollinate. So, well, not pollinate, but cross over to the other side. But hey, once again, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification. Sorry for the mess up a little bit earlier, trying some new equipment out. That was on me. But once again, thank y'all for joining us. Hit the subscribe button, bell notification, and look out for new videos this week as well. Appreciate each and every one of you, and we catch you next week.
Bye.
Bye.